What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to East versus West. Today, we're filming this. This is a pre-recording of the intro. We just wrapped up our amazing show with Mikaela, who played Momo at Halloween Horror Nights last year and has done a wide variety of other characters in the last 4 years she's been at Horror Nights. Had an amazing show with her today. She gave us so much info about the event and a little bit about herself, which was really cool. She was a very nice person. And we are very thankful that we got to land her on the podcast.
Yeah, stay tuned for this episode. It's special. She spills the beans.
Spills the beans, man. But, before we go any further, like always, follow both of our channels on YouTube. Edutainment, of course, is Edutainment, Nights of Horror. And, of course, follow our social medias as well. As well as check out both of our merch websites where you'll find East versus West merchandise available now with two designs. Of course, the original OG design, which I'm rocking right here, one of my favorite designs that we made with the anchor and the palm tree. Go check that one out. That's the OG design, designed by my cousin Andrew. And of course, the newly as equally as cool design as well, designed by Adrian from Lost TV, which is available in the store right now. So check those out. Rep your East versus West merch, man, because when we go out to the events, we would love to see you guys repping the podcast, man.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
That'd be dope. Also, we have face masks available for both logos as well. So, face masks are a huge thing right now. So get yourself a face mask, wear your mask, and social distance so we can have more haunts open up.
Did you say do yourself a face mask?
I said get yourself a face mask.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say, like, do yourself a favor and get yourself a face mask.
I know. I said do yourself a favor and get a face mask. Or I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But here's the podcast with Mikaela. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Perfect.
There we go. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of East versus West, the show that gives you your dose of both coasts. Today, we have a very special guest. This is Mikaela. Now, Mikaela is a very talented person. She brought the terrifying Momo to life last year during Spirits and Demons of the East, the scare zone that takes place in Hollywood last year. It was terrifying, but I think what really made it terrifying was Mikaela's performance. Because if you guys had the opportunity, the pleasure to see Mikaela work, it was terrifying. It really was. I was terrified every night that I went, but she did an amazing job. She brought that character to life. Mikaela, how you doing?
I'm so good. I had a lot of fun with Momo. That was definitely the best experience I had working for Universal. I did Horror Nights for 4 years as a Scareactor, so that was my 4th year, and it just felt like senior year, like top dog.
There you go. Your senior year, you get that big role right there, man.
That's how it feels. I got cast in Scare Zone 1, which is where they say they put the best performers, is what it's rumored. But they also put the performers they know can take a hit. So I definitely got hit more than ever. I had guests
no.
from the park. I had never had guests ejected from the park until that year.
Wow.
So,
Wait, like how like accidentally hitting you?
Oh no,
or?
on purpose.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
I mean, you get hit on accident sometimes. And
Yeah.
so you have to determine when you scare somebody, is this like a reactionary hit, or like were they hitting you with intention to hurt you?
Right.
And I had 3 people hit me with like fully intending to hit me, just to hit me.
God.
Like I didn't even make a scare on these people. They just like hit me. I had one lady shove me. I had another guy shove me, and then he shoved me like a second time, and I wasn't even like trying to scare them. And then the craziest one, this one guy, I was like going through the crowd, and he put his hand in my face.
Oh my
and
God.
then followed me to my supervisor to tell my supervisor that I walked into his hand. And then he was just like being an a-hole, wouldn't show them his ID, so they kicked him out.
That
Oh, no.
that doesn't. How do you walk into someone that? Okay. Yeah, we got some. There's some dicks out in the world.
Definitely.
We've clearly seen that in the last couple of months. There's a lot of assholes out in the world. And we've clearly seen that in the past at haunt events. I see it all the time when I go to these events. I mean, it's
I
sad.
don't know why people have such a hard time. I mean, I've walked through mazes, and so it is different when you're in the guest shoes, because there's, as characters, there's things we like all the guests do and we laugh at all the guests being dumb. But when
Yeah.
you're in the guest shoes, like, it's easy to be dumb like that because you don't know what's going
Right.
on. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but you do know that these are human beings.
Right.
I don't know what
Right.
Yeah, no,
So he'd a caution to everyone that goes to these events: if you can't take a scare, then don't come.
if you can't handle not touching other people, then you can stay home and watch a movie.
Because they're just trying to do their jobs to bring these characters to life and everything.
We aren't trying to touch you. We will get fired if we touch you. Like,
Right.
we don't want to touch you. We want to get as close as we can without touching you and freak you out. That's the goal.
Or if you do go, please read the rules before you do go, because they're just trying to do their jobs, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. It's the funniest thing when people don't want to be scared. They're just trying to, like, play it cool, like, don't scare me. Like, that's what you paid us to do. I don't know.
Right? Mikaela, we have to mention you are our first, like, official Scareactor guest on our show, actually. So this is a big milestone for us. I know that you were on our good friends Horror Nights Unscripted a couple months back. Yeah, those guys are fun, dude.
Yeah, they've been killing it.
I love them so much.
So welcome, and thank you for being our first on the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Eddie, go ahead.
I did my time working for Universal, and I ultimately decided I'm not going to do scare acting again this year. If the event should run, I know we're in a weird time, but I'm, like, fully ready to give Universal my money and, like, go attend the event because I love being at Universal. But the job is, it's definitely got pros and cons. You do make good money. It is a lot of fun, but it's also a huge time commitment and it is very physically demanding. And, like, one of my knees bothers me now, and I know it's from last season, and, like, I just don't want to put my body through it again. So I'm spilling all the beans because I don't have to, like, try to get rehired.
That's what we like to hear. I mean, whatever you can spill for us, that's the best thing. But Eddie, why don't you take it away with our first group of questions that we have. We have a ton for you, and we want to really hear everything that you can tell us as much as possible as you can tell us.
Awesome.
So you already answered one of the questions. I was writing it down as you said it. So you worked for the event for 4 years. So I was going to ask how long you've been there. When was your first year?
2016. It was, I considered it like my first official acting job because I went to acting school, and through acting school, I met a person who, she is a tour guide at Universal. Maybe she still is. At the time she was, and she shared the link for the auditions with like everybody who went to the acting school. So I went and auditioned and getting cast, like so exciting. I was on Terror Tram my first year as a firefighter clown / baseball clown. So like about half the nights they painted my face, and I would let them paint my pigtails. I said, make me look as much like Harley Quinn as you can without getting in trouble. So I actually have
copyright.
I love
this guy that I worked with in my zone, like, was an artist, so he like made us custom hats. So that's one of my faces I had painted, Captain Moody, because I was captain of my zone that year. And then I got hit in the face by one of the Hollywood Harrys that year, and I had to tell. It was a whole thing, so I had him draw like the look I had when I got punched. And then there's like the little, that's like the firefighter clown, and that's just like an outfit I had, but. It's like
that hat is so awesome.
Super sicky. Yeah.
That is dope.
And you getting hit has been like an annual thing now. It's almost tradition.
Dude, when I got hit in 2016, it was like a total accident because since I was captain of this area that I was working on, they had created 2 paths on Terror Tram. So it was like the second path I was captain of. So when I was finishing my set, I wanted to make sure that everybody had switched out and like we had enough characters on the path before I left. And I just happened to pass by him when he was making a scare, and he like hit me with that knife right in the face. Oh. And then they made me go to Occ Health, and I didn't know where I was supposed to wait. Occ Health is like occupational health. When you get hurt or to get wrapped or things like that, that's where you go. And Universal's huge, and obviously like everything is all over the place. Terror Tram's pretty far from where that building's located, so you have to be shuttled from your area to the Occ Health, I didn't know where I was supposed to wait, so I went down to the tram offloading where all the guests were, and a guest tried to like put his arm around me to take a picture with me, which is super no. Like performers are not supposed to pose for pictures. Like asking them for pictures is pointless because they will just run away from you. Like that kind of thing just makes performers want to not interact with you because you're not allowed to pose. So I like tried to duck, and then he hit the other side of my face with like a ring he had on and like split open the other side of my face. It was a wild night.
You actually performed, and that was one of my favorite Tear Trams, by the way. I loved
good one.
The Eli Roth one was just the Hollywood Harry, that whole storyline. Like they made videos for that. They kind of made it like a realistic thing. They went all out with that Tear Tram. That was one of my favorites.
It was such a blast to work back there. Like, gosh. And it was crazy too for me because as a kid, I'm not from California. But I came and visited Universal and going on the tour on the back lot and thinking like, oh, I'm gonna work here one day. Like, and then like fast forwarded many years later, I have worked there.
Nice. I know, right? And that's such an iconic area where the Tear Tram takes you. I mean, you got the Psycho Motel.
We would do stretches in front of like the Psycho house. Like it was great.
It's awesome back there. I mean, you got the War of the Worlds plane crash set. All that.
We were staring in that. Like I was up in that.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like that was one of the things I loved about the Tear Tram so much is because like me wanting to be a filmmaker, like going back there and looking at those iconic sets, you're just like mesmerized and blown away that you're actually walking on these iconic sets. Like it's an amazing feeling. Like once you walk through it, there's nothing else like it. You know, that's why I love Horror Nights so much because you get to go into like the Metro sets when they have mazes back there and go walk those sets that people walk, and then you get to go when they had the Tear Tram, you get to walk like the Bates Motel and like the Bates House and the War of the Worlds. Like I always lose my shit when I walk in there. Like I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it right now.
It's surreal, especially when you are in like entertainment. Like I have like an acting and production background too, so it's like wow to like be like I've seen that movie and like this is the set, like we're here, like they're filming movies here right now, and I'm here. Like you drive by like hot sets, like, and it's like that's because it's a working movie studio, and like what? I hope to come back and like be doing a different job, you know? Right.
That's exactly how I felt when I watched Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then I went back to the studio tour. Went through that set, and I just lost my shit because that was like one of my favorite movies, and I was like, oh my god, this is where Leo was, this is where Brad Pitt was, like just losing my shit. Like, I don't know, there's just something about that theme park I love so much. It's just because of that history it has.
I feel you so much. Like Universal has such a big like place in my heart. I love it. That's why I'm like totally like if they run the event, if Horror Nights happens, I'm getting a fear pass. I'm going every weekend.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. I probably would be doing the same thing. So, you mentioned you've done 4 years of HHN. Let's talk about the other two in the middle. Now, you've done 2016. The first year you ever did it was, of course, with the Tear Tram, Hollywood Harry. What was the second year?
Second year was I was in the Shining maze, a skeleton in the Gold Room. So our big thing was like which one of them is real and which one of them is fake, and we just like be like statues and then scare people, and like people would lose their shit. People would get in there and be like, fuck this. And I would see like grown men I saw jump from the middle of the room out of the room. Like we got some good scares that year. It was definitely a challenge because I was sitting in a comfortable chair most of the night. Nice. And it's just a nighttime event, so we listened to this like slow song sitting in these comfy chairs in the dark. Like one of the other girls fell asleep a lot, and it was like we would just go to the cameras and be like,
those are some of those beans.
Yeah, dude. They didn't fire her though. We were like, what the heck? I guess it was like late enough in the season, like because it wasn't a problem the whole season,
right?
But towards the end it would got bad, and then it's like then I'm scaring double time because you're asleep,
right?
Like I had straight up would do jumping jacks sometimes when there were not guests in the room just to keep myself awake because it's like my job, you can like on your breaks you can like nap a little, but like when you're supposed to be scaring is like usually
you're on the clock. Yeah.
If I fell asleep in a haunted house and then woke up, I'd probably be terrified.
You're like, oh
shoot, where the hell?
Oh god, that's awesome. I mean,
with the skeleton mask, like
that was an epic phase too on both coasts. the Shining Maze was epic on both coasts, and I didn't get to experience it, but I did see the walkthroughs of the Shining Maze. And
that was it's one of my favorite mazes. I love. Well, not to mention that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But walking through that experience, I mean, they nailed it, man. They did Horror Nights in Hollywood has a really good thing that they do this thing where they can put you into this movie. It could be like a 2-hour movie, 3-hour movie, it doesn't matter, and they can sum it up in 5 minutes. And make sure they nail every major part of the film, which is always one of my favorite things that they do. And I think, Eddie, you and I talked about that many times, but Shining is one of those examples, man.
Yep. In Orlando, The Shining was probably one of the best mazes that year and one of the worst prosthetics in history.
Oh my god, they all have like the same forehead, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't do the mask thing as much there.
Yeah. And through that, it was
they might change it. Well, I don't know with the pandemic, but originally we were hearing rumors of like them switching Hollywood's schedule to like Florida's schedule, because it's like, what's better? Because it's like, is it more cost effective? Like, I think you have to pay more performers more, but like then it's like, is it more because it's less hours? Because I guess in Florida it's like 5 days a week and they don't go as late, and every position is double cast, versus Universal it's like 4 days a week and it's like very intense hours. Like we literally, like I would work 3 p.m. to almost 3 a.m. like 4 days a week, and then I was also working other jobs too, so I would work another job like 8:45 a.m. I worked 8:45 to 3, and then I would work 5 to 3.
Oh
wow. Halloween Horror opened at 3 p.m. in Hollywood.
What happened?
I worked at Studio City but it was a marijuana dispensary, so pretty chill during the day. And then, but then also, you were hella not allowed to bring weed to Universal. Like, you will be fired. Like, so if you have any paraphernalia, if they catch you with it. So I'm like going like straight from like working at a weed store, getting hella like samples on weed to like have to like leave in my car and like hope everything's chill and like go Universal.
Dude.
Jeez.
Freaking,
that's 2019.
420 blazing, man. I love that.
Dash Studio City, come through if you need the gun.
The good stuff.
But in 2000,
this episode's taking a quick turn.
Taking a quick turn, man. I love it. Nah, I love it. I love it. It was. Oh, we had like, you're not allowed to, but we had like some times where we were vaping weed and like supervisors like totally knew, and then you did not get us fired, thank God, because they were also vaping weed. There's those beans, man. They got spilled again.
I
won't name any names, but we definitely had some times but they got more serious about it last year. They were like firing people for just like talking about weed.
Which
brownies.
Sucks. It's all legal now, so it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Because that was we were vaping like that in 2018. That was when I was on Holidays in Hell. The Scare Zone did so well, they turned it into a maze.
Holidays in Hell. Let's talk a little bit about that Scare Zone. So that was 2018 for you, Holidays in Hell. What did you play in Holidays in Hell?
I was the Christmas elf.
Okay.
In the Christmas section, and so I believe it's based on my performance as the Christmas elf that really played a role in me being cast as Momo, because the eye holes for the elf mask were like this big.
Oh man.
And the Momo ones were like even smaller.
Oh man.
And I managed to like not hit every guest and like do a good job with that friction, because I would get wild. I loved having the big open space. Like that's why I love the Scare Zone so much, because you have the freedom to really do a lot. And with a character like the elf and with a character like Momo, there's not so much. It's not like a face character from a movie, so like I kind of got to play with it and bring to the table the skills that I had, you know.
Right. No, I feel it. No, and everything you've played in, I've literally they have a special place in my heart, honestly. Like, I think this was probably you're probably gonna be the best guest ever we have on East versus West, just because of the sole purpose of that.
I'm so happy. I like gave it my all. I had a good time when I worked all of those mazes, Scare Zone, everything.
No, I mean, I have so much memories going through all those. Like, it is just, you know, you're talking about the gold room and going through that Shining maze, and that was like just going through that maze was just like living the movie. You talk about, Hollywood Harry 2016. That was like the first time where I was like, oh, we get an original Terror Tram. I'm loving this. You're talking about Holidays in Hell, which I've had so much fun going through because like one of my favorite scenes in there was when they were playing Shipping Out to Boston and the St. Patty's Day section, and then going through at the very end the Christmas section, another one of my favorite scenes. And then, of course, Spirits and Demons of the East, which I think was probably one of the best scare zones Universal has produced in a long time.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
And all solely because of you.
All because of Mikaela.
Momo, they love the Momo every night, all night. Momo, Momo, can we take a picture with you? Momo. But the best thing, because sometimes people would recognize you, but they didn't know like what, they couldn't name what it was. Like one time, this guy goes, "It's that girl from that thing."
Yeah.
It made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. Because that was like a big thing for a little bit, wasn't it? That whole Momo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they got the thing. I remember hearing about it on NPR, like this crazy Momo on the internet making kids kill themselves and stuff.
Right.
So like, that's all I knew about it going into it.
Right.
So I just they gave me a schoolgirl outfit, which I was thrilled with. Cutest outfit I've gotten to wear working there. Next, that or one night I did spend in the Purge tunnel in 2016.
Oh, nice.
And that was a pretty sexy little outfit too. They have like corsets and like little shorty shorts, and, like freaking actors.
That's awesome.
They did away with that though in the tunnel. They've only had men in there for the past couple of years.
Yeah. Every time I go through there, that's all you see is the men. They need to be gender equal, man. They need to put everyone in there.
I don't know. I guess like maybe it's like things like people getting hit too much or stuff like too much harassment or something. But like I feel like that's gonna happen in any area.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be the issue is gonna be, I would think, in the same issue in like any area, not
Right.
just like a. Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, I don't work in that side, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with tunnel, I mean, it's pretty somewhat open. But at the same time, it's like there's one way in, one way out. So I can see how they can. Yeah.
you're gonna get out and get away with it.
Right.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Sometimes it's hard when you get hit because there's like supposed to be security, and sometimes security is there, and sometimes it's like security is where, because like, you have to try to keep eyes on the guests that got you and like try to follow them and try to keep a description on them so that hopefully they can catch them if they get away, or
Right.
because it's like sometimes you'll get hit and you'll get pulled or pushed and the guests they just get away with it because you can't catch them, and
Right.
they're wearing the same generic outfit that everybody else is wearing, so they don't catch them. And it's just like, please, if you're gonna go, be respectful. Just
Right.
go and be respectful and enjoy the
okay.
event. We're here to have a good time, and we don't need to be hitting each other.
Right.
Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself, and mostly during this time.
Right.
I know, right? What do you think it's gonna be like if they do the event, because they have they did put out the notice for auditions for people who worked the event before. The message was you don't have to audition in person.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know a guy who was auditioning for stilts. He sent a video on the stilts because stilts is like they get paid more and it's more of a skill than just scare acting.
Right.
So I can understand that. I don't think he's worked as a stilt before, but yeah, I guess they're like getting prepared. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I heard we're about to have another stay-at-home order in LA.
I don't even know what's going on with the event right now. If you watch, and I can link you this one too, Mikaela. There's this guy that we follow that helps us out with right now because no one can go to the park. He's helping us out with a lot of footage for construction and stuff. His name is Santa Clarita Drone.
Oh yes, I've heard about this.
Yeah. So he takes his drone and flies over to kind of look at construction. All completely legal. He gets permission and everything to do it.
It's not dangerous.
Yeah, he flies his drone over and he looks at a lot of the maze construction because they've been doing maze construction lately. And for the metro sets right now, it's not looking good. They're looking like they're starting to take them down.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh.
but for Mummy and the Waterworld queue, it looks like they're still up. So there's faith in that. I'm hoping that because where they had the two mazes for the metro area, where they had Creepshow last year, they were doubling up mazes right there. So I'm hoping that maybe they looked at it like, how are we going to social distance this? And maybe they're taking them down and moving them. But that's just our hope. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping.
It's a long ways away, but I mean, we don't know what the world will be like.
Right. That's why we're living on a day-to-day with COVID. So we'll see what
But
happens. We'll
It's a
see what
long
happens.
it's cool to have been in it for like a few years, and then I've never gone as a guest. I just heard about the opportunity to work and got the job, so I've only walked through it a couple times when I've had the opportunity as a performer on break.
Yeah.
So it'll be a whole different.
So you've never been to the event as a guest. So you've never, like, the years that you've gone, you've never. So this would have been like the first year you would have gone as a guest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was
Wow.
I was so hyped. I was like, I'm just gonna like dress up every like night and just enjoy like my awesome outfits, because that was something I had a lot of fun with. I wanted to be the queen of horror nights, because I feel like the hottest girl that worked horror nights like didn't do it. So I was like, slots open and I'm taking it.
There you go.
So I wore like Halloween costumes every day for all of October. Every day that we worked horror nights, I would like literally like dress up like full face of makeup, like hair, everything. And I would have votes on my Instagram. And so I would let the fans decide, do you want to see me wear this costume or this costume? And then I would get to work and people would be like, oh yeah, I voted for that one. Or, oh, I voted for the other one.
I love that.
So I feel like I was like the queen, like the it girl of horror nights.
Well, you heard it here first on East versus West. This is the queen of horror nights right here.
Yep. And you keep on answering the questions that I'm going to ask. I was going to ask, what came first, the Scareactor or the fan? Which obviously the Scareactor, because you've never actually been to the event before this.
I don't think I'd even heard of it until like I saw the auditions and was like, that could be cool. I hadn't done scare acting before, except like we had a zombie run in my town I was from, so we like dressed up as zombies to like scare the runners.
Nice.
Without scaring kids in my yard once or twice, maybe at the high school walkthrough, but not serious.
But you have been to the parks, right?
Huh?
But you have been to the parks, right?
Yeah, I had been to Universal Studios before. I don't know if I had gone before I started working there in LA, once I lived in LA, but I definitely went as a kid. So I had like seen it before. I remembered it from that. Definitely like so like, oh my god, like I'm back here, like oh my gosh. It's what's weird though, because I only really go around horror nights time, like to go, and even during them don't go much because free time is limited and sleep is valuable.
Right.
So it's weird to see it during the day, like with like regular looking, like when it's not
no
dark
fog,
and
no sound effects, no metal or freaking dubstep blasting through the speakers.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things going to on the Throwback Thursday nights was like they would switch it up music wise, so like they'd be playing 80s on the escalators and then they'd put all like the heavy metal and everything in the front, and me being the heavy metal guy that I am, like every time I went down the escalators, like I would make a big old thing when I go down. Like they'd play the song "Number of the Beast" by Iron Maiden, and there's this part in there where the lead singer like screams in the beginning of the thing, and my ass being the fan I am, I just screamed out in public because I go apeshit when that song comes on. But I loved hearing it through the Scare Zone because it made me think, man, if I was working the Scare Zone, this music would really get me into the zone of doing what I have to do every night.
That was definitely something fun. The way the Scare Zone worked is it was split into two parts. So there was like angels and demons or whatever, and there was like the spirits and demons section, and then like the like I don't know, they were
Fallen Angels, I believe it was called. Or...
Yeah. So it was like we were supposed to be separate until like a certain time, and then we could go to both sections. So on those Thursdays, that was always like certain songs. Like when I would go into the front section, would get me like hyped, and I'd be like running around, like getting lit on like the freaking crazy music
in the zone.
Yeah, definitely. But there were some songs we were like, really? Like it would be like her name is Rio and she and we're like, so be scary.
You're like Duran Duran, really? Come on.
Like, okay.
Where's the Metallica at?
Yeah. So there's a couple that were questionable, but we would have a lot of fun at the end of the night. We would have for our last set, because the way we scare, it's like mostly like 30 or 45 minutes and then 35 or 30 or 40 minutes. So it's like if I would do 45 minutes scaring, then I would break for 45 minutes, then I would scare for 45 minutes, then I would break for 45 minutes. That's pretty much how it's all set up. Sometimes you scare for an hour and break for half an hour. Depends on what the position is.
Right.
Pretty much. So on our final set, we would call it the mosh pit. So we would all like get together because there's like dubstep
Right.
at the end because it would be during the brigade. So we
Right.
would go with like brigade's music and we would like headbang and like have like a mosh pit, and then we would all like stop when the beat would drop. We'd all like freaking run and like
That's
run
awesome.
through the crowd and just coordinating together.
Right.
It's really cool. Being able to do stuff like that, and that's like another thing that they love. And that's putting people together, working together, scaring together.
I've seen that, and I've also seen the chainsaw chase out too, which is awesome.
The chainsaws are lit.
Yeah.
The brigade is so lit. I would always go watch it whenever I could.
Yeah.
I wanted to. Oh my gosh! After finishing the season, I went into it being like, "This is gonna be my last year. I'm just gonna scare this year, and like it'll be my 4th year. I'll be done." And then afterwards, I was like, I want to be a chainsaw. I'm going to train.
Oh,
come back to chainsaw. And then I was like, just kidding. I don't want to destroy my body.
You
It's
give
cool.
Mikaela a chainsaw, man. It's over.
It would be lit, but the
she's
thing
gonna.
is heavy.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna.
They all weigh as much as you.
You're
They
gonna
weigh
be
like
like.
15 pounds.
You're gonna be freaking dope with the chainsaw, man. Like, if you give Mikaela a chainsaw, like, your nightmares are gonna come to life, man. You're
She's
done.
just dragging it on the floor, the metal sparking against
Oh,
the
dude.
asphalt.
I dressed up as a chainsaw performer on Halloween Day, as my like costume, and they did not let me hold a chainsaw. I wanted to like pose with a chainsaw. Like I brought this. I got this mask. Look at this.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have like my battle vest and everything. I was like, can I hold a chainsaw for a picture? And they were like, nope.
I'm like,
I guess you have to be trained. Even to hold it, you need training.
damn.
So that's some real serious. They don't get paid more though. They get paid the same as the other characters.
Do they
The only
really?
ones yep. The
Wow.
stilt walkers get paid more, but the rest, the blackout performers versus the maze performers versus the scare zone performers versus the chainsaw performers, they all get paid the same rate.
Did not know that. Looks like only
Yep.
stilt walkers are getting more, huh?
Yep, just stilts. The stilts, yeah, I don't know what the exact numbers are, and they'll be different next year because of inflation, but they definitely made a few dollars more an hour than we did.
That's insane.
And their break schedules are different too, because they can only be out so much, especially in like if it's windy and stuff. If there's certain weather, then like they can't do it. It's a pretty intense skill, I guess.
Right.
But there is that, so it's interesting. Being a blackout performer, that's like when they're behind the scenes and they have like they watch a monitor and they use a trigger and they control something that happens in the maze, versus being like in a scare zone where I'm running around like jumping at people.
Right.
It's like 2 totally different levels of physicality.
Yeah.
For same pay grade. And so it's something that may happen if you audition. You may get cast in blackout, but
Right.
you won't. If you go into it trying to get cast in a blackout role, you're not going to get the job.
Wow.
So they want to see like
They want to see you actually try to put an effort to.
you have endurance and like
Yeah.
you're creative.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, that tells me a lot about how it's like. I've always wondered that too, of how the pay scale is on different. If you get paid more as an actor rather than a blackout, or still was always.
Chainsaws, it's like they like the chainsaw gang. Like they're like this little tight knit group, and they're like the elite of like the event. They kind of, some of them have like an air about them because they're like better because of chainsaws, but like they're just, we all are on the same level.
We're gonna bring in new gardening tools to the event. We're gonna bring in weed whackers. See how that goes.
Yeah, the chainsaw's just a loud prop. That's heavy.
Yeah.
But it's no disrespect. I love the chainsaws, but fortunately they get paid the same. I feel like they should be paid more for wielding that big heavy thing.
Oh yeah, and especially
So,
it's
like,
a gas operated
with it.
thing too. I mean, anything can go wrong with that thing. And I think that's one of the many things I love about HHN is the chainsaw smell that you walk in, you just smell all that gas coming in. It's like it's so unique to that event, just because you're like, oh, yep, we're at Horror Nights.
And they're probably less likely to get hit.
Right. Mikaela, so HHN obviously is the big staple haunt here in SoCal. So there's other haunts around here. They got the Haunted Hayride, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, Not Scary Farm. Would you ever be open or want to try out any of those other haunts as well, or no?
Actually somebody from, I think it was from 17th Door, like approached me and was like, you should come to work at 17th Door. Cause I went to this show, Unmundane, at Beetle House, and they had a woman who I can't remember her name, but she's like an iconic scare actor. She was in like that documentary, I think Haunters is what it was called.
Okay.
And talking about, I think she worked at 17th Door or Knott's. Maybe I think it was Knott's. I don't know. But her and like her daughter were talking to me, and she's like, "Yeah, maybe you should come and work in 17th Door. Like, come to work in a different haunt." I don't know. It's just like it's just so physical and so time consuming. That's like I have other things going. That was the thing. My third year, I was really on a roll with my acting career. Like, really, things were going really well, and then I kind of had to stop everything to do horror nights, and it like really upset me.
Right.
And I was like, I'm never doing this again. But then I think I had fun or something. Or when you're away from it, you forget the cons, and you just like remember the good stuff, and you want to go back. So I decided to do it one more year, but I was like, it's gonna be my last year, so I can go into it and be like, it's my last year. I'm gonna like live it to the fullest, love every second of it, and then call it done, and I'll focus on my other stuff, and I'll go to Halloween parties, and I'll attend the event afterwards, because it was a good chapter for me, and I recommend it. If you're in Los Angeles and you like performing and you like being physical, like definitely audition or
HHN. There you go.
Try to get in, but it's a special thing.
No, I agree. That sounds awesome, man. I like that a lot. That is cool. You mentioned your acting career. Now, have you being that HHN's a big horror event, have you always been a fan of horror movies and stuff like that too?
Yeah, I like horror movies. I also work on the management team of a horror pop culture convention called Mad Monster Party.
Okay.
Which is we've done it in Arizona and North Carolina since I've been with them. It was actually supposed to have happened like a week ago or like 2 weeks ago in Arizona, but it's had to be pushed to October.
Yeah.
I love the horror community. It's just like everybody looks scary, but that's the thing, we just want to look scary.
Right.
Like, it's nice, and I just think the horror movies are fun. They're fun to make. Like, I'm in a few horror movies. It's I
gotta write those down so I can watch them.
Oh, I have one that's on Amazon Prime called Kiss My Ashes. That was a very fun, silly one to do. And then I did another one. And I'm in a couple of James Balsamo movies. One of them just came out. And then one of them hasn't come out yet, but I play Eric Roberts' daughter in that one.
Nice.
Eric Roberts, no way.
Yeah, that Eric Roberts, he's a interesting guy.
My mom like finds him. I don't know why, but she thinks he's like the most attractive actor ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I could see it. He's funny to work with. Interesting character. Eddie,
does your mom watch these videos?
Occasionally. She'd probably click off by this point, though.
He's married anyway.
That's awesome.
Question.
I feel like I made horror movies before? We made like a quarantine sketch back in the day when that quarantine movie came out, and I first had a video camera. I think it was more comedy than horror, though.
I love that movie, though.
You like Quarantine?
Yeah, I love the movie.
Have you seen Wreck?
Yeah.
Wreck is what it's based off right there. It's like it was like a foreign movie, and then they Americanized it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. All right, so Mikaela, do you like the scare acting on the streets or in a house better, and why?
Streets, absolutely, because I like the creativity and the creative control that I have on the streets is like way more than in a maze. In a maze, you're just like gonna probably do the same exact scare over and over again, and then and you're in like a small space. Like, I did a couple nights when I was on Terror Tram where I did what's called pool. So people drop out because this is a hard job. So by halfway through the event, they don't have enough people to fill out the performer slots. So that's when they start to take from the pool, which is people they hire to fill in when people are out. And that pool gets smaller. They get permanently placed as people quit, and then the pool gets taken from Terror Tram, which I'm not sure how they did it last year because they didn't have Terror Tram to pull from. But in 2016, that's how they did it. Right. And so you could get pulled from Terror Tram. Like, Terror Tram ends at 11 versus the rest of the event ends at 2. So they would pull you towards the end of your Terror Tram shift, and you would go back to Scare Base, put on a different costume, get a different mask, get transported to another location where you would continue working. And I did a couple nights in Halloween, and I was a trick-or-treater with the pumpkin mask. So you're in basically a closet, with a black curtain, and you're like peeking out like through this mask that's hard to see, through this little like slot to see people walk by, and you have a shaker can, and you just like literally just have to like pop out and shake the can, and pop out and shake the can. And that's like the whole job for like 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off, or 45 on, 45 off, whatever it was. And like I was way more fulfilled on the street.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's like for me, that's what it's all about. I loved it. I was like, I made sure I was like exercising a lot before the event, which is key. If you're going to work the event, highly encourage you to train before, because you don't want to finally be like, yeah, strong at the end of the event after you've been working for a month and a half. Like, try to give yourself that strength going into it so you can just like freaking kill it all season long.
Right.
It's a lot. It's literally like, I mean, when you're doing like on the street stuff, you're basically working out for 45 minutes.
Right.
5 times a night or 4 times a night, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree, because I go to Not Scary Farm over there in Buena Park, and they have actors who slide. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've heard of the slides. They don't do that at Universal.
Yeah, and they slide. They're sliding a lot of them majority of the night, and they do have their breaks and everything. But man, that must just be killer, that workout right there. I mean, you're probably super tired after. Then you when you go home at night after a long shift, you got to come back the next day and do it again. And it's like you're probably sore, tired. I mean, you come in very pumped at the start of the weekend because, you know, it's coming back into the zone. You're getting your character back. But by the end of that weekend, you're done.
I definitely, like, eagerly, like, snuck CBD into the park. And, like, like, Sunday, like, that's how I made it through. I had, like, a CBD patch, like.
There you go.
Because it's just, like, because a lot of people like do also work their other job too, like because you have because there's a large chunk of the performers aren't actors. They're just regular people who really like horror nights and like just love working horror nights and live for working horror nights, and so they have to work their other job too. And it's like after working like 8:45 to 3 and 5 to 3 and 8:45 to 3 and 5 to 3 and 9:30 to 3 and 5 to 3 Sunday is like, it's rough. The coffee helps for sure.
Oh yeah.
But it's because you still want to deliver that good performance. Like, I don't half-ass because I'm tired. Like, the people at the beginning of the weekend should get the performance the same at the end or whatever. Right.
I agree. No, it is very yeah. I mean, me to get me by every week. I mean, I come home, I have these CBD freaking candy strips that taste delicious, and 1,000 milligrams per strip, and I want to eat them all because they taste so good. But I only limit myself to 2 so I can relax throughout the day, and they help me sleep at night and everything. So yeah, no, I'm with you on the whole CBD thing, man. It's a big relaxant as far as if you're doing what you're doing, as far as like the stress of working a day job, but then coming in at night to do that job, and then having to go home and then wake up and do it all over again. Like, yeah, it is just too much. I mean, I can't imagine me doing that because I wake up for like 5:30 at work, and like if I were to come home at 3 a.m., it's like if I'm lucky, I'll probably get an hour of sleep because it takes me a while just to adjust into my bed. And yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that.
Definitely, marijuana definitely made it possible to work my job. Like, because you have to go home and go to sleep. Like, it's like go home, hit, puff it, out, wake up, do it again. Because it's like when you have to wake up and do it again, it's like you don't have time to just be like waiting to fall asleep.
Right. I like that. No, that's.
Do you even get a weekend off?
Huh?
Do you get a weekend off?
We worked the weekend. Oh, during the week I would work in 2019, during the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would work at a restaurant and a Halloween store. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would work at the marijuana dispensary and horror nights.
Damn.
But now I only work, I work at the dispensary still, and then I do TikTok.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about that TikTok, because I am very interested about how that came to be with you. I mean, so if you guys don't know Mikaela's TikTok, she does a lot of what I see is some tutorials for a lot of the vegan foods that you make, which look absolutely delicious, by the way.
Thank you. I like to think of it as vibey cooking videos.
Right.
Because it's not so much exactly how to make something as it is like, I'm cooking and like, I'm cute. It's fun. I love it though. TikTok came about because a friend of mine last summer actually hit me up and was like, you like creating content. Would you want to get paid to create content for this app called TikTok? And at the time, I read the categories of videos that you had to make, and I hadn't made any cooking videos at that time. And the thought of doing it at that time, I was like, I don't want to make cooking videos like every day. Like, I don't want to, none of these categories interest me. And so I sent an email back to TikTok being like, thanks but no thanks. Like, I don't want to do any of this. And then like a couple of months later, she kind of like showed me how to use the app and I really decided like it would be worth giving it a try doing these cooking videos. And I wanted to do it in a way that also incorporated me as part of the brand, not just the food, because I mean, coming from the acting background, you know, that's growing a following, you know, can help you with that kind of thing. So I I used to just like model my outfits on Instagram and like be cute doing that. So I wanted to like incorporate that with the cooking. And so that's kind of how I came up with how to make the videos, and pretty instantly it blew up. The second video got 100,000 views in like 2 days.
Wow.
It was during Horror Nights. Actually, I had my first video hit 1 million views and I like screamed. I was so excited. So I don't get paid directly from TikTok. She emailed them like 14 times trying to get them to do the paid partnership with me again, but didn't work out. But so I do collaborations with brands a lot now, and brands will send me products and I will make TikToks for them or take photos for them. And we have paid contracts, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So that's like my side hustle that I hope to make a main hustle. Trying to get on YouTube, but YouTube is a lot more work.
Yes,
and I don't
it is.
have the sharpest of skills in that department yet. So sometimes I get frustrated, but I know.
Well, Mikaela, I
can do that.
I could speak from me at least. If you never need any help getting up if you want to ever do YouTube, I know with podcasts like Horror Nights Unscripted and us, I mean, we've only seen your scare acting side, and I know you have a whole nother side to you as far as your cooking, your modeling for outfits and everything, and your photo shoots I've seen as well on your Instagram. There's a whole nother side to Mikaela that you haven't seen other than the scare actor side that you need to check out. If we can do anything to help you get that YouTube career started up for you, we would be more than happy to help whatsoever.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get it on soon. I'll definitely be sharing when I do, but until then, you can catch me on TikTok, you can catch me on Instagram, Moody Mikaela. Plug.
There you go. No, that was gonna be my next question. Where can people find you on social media? Because I think we've had an amazing conversation today. We really have. It was probably, this was probably, I would go out and say, one of the best episodes of East versus West we've ever done.
Oh, yay!
The best episode of East versus West we've done. It was fun. I mean, we got to learn a lot about you and your career at HHN. Not to mention, you're one of our first HHN performers to ever sit in on any of our shows, really. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. That is so awesome.
I'm happy you reached out. I love Horror Nights so much. It's fun to talk about this stuff because I've definitely had a great experience with it the past 4 years.
Right. Mikaela, if we ever see you at the event, we're definitely gonna have to hang out and
hopefully we'll be there, I guess 6 feet apart with a mask.
6 feet apart, wear a mask, all that stuff.
So now the performers are wearing masks and the guests are wearing masks.
I know, right? So that was my thing this year too. Is like, how are they gonna do that for performers? Are they gonna have to wear a mask under the mask, or it's like?
A lot of people do already.
Do they really?
Ninja hoods under the mask because it helps with the sweat because it gets hot. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I think I've seen a couple people do that at Knott's actually to kind of hide their face, so they kind of have that whole effect.
Helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But Mikaela, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we hope to work with you again sometime soon. Because we had a blast doing it today. And so go follow Mikaela on all her social medias. Links will be down to everything in the description below for her TikTok and her Instagram, so you can check that out. definitely follow her on TikTok because she has quite the following, man.
I am pretty proud of myself for that. I grew that all organically. I didn't even pay for it.
That's the best thing. That's the best one. I think that's what all us small YouTubers are trying to do too. Everything's organic, and much like that, Mikaela knows how that is too, growing it organically. That's awesome.
Yes.
Eddie, any final words you want to say before we log off?
Just thank you for being on this episode of East versus West, Mikaela. We really appreciate it. And just a little bit of additional support. You have already the energy and the personality for YouTube. So I would suggest just jumping in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got some scripts I need to write. I have some ideas of videos written out. I'm learning, constantly educating myself, and hopefully I'll be on your platform here soon.
Oh yeah. So be on the lookout, because when she goes on, we're gonna promote it. You guys better subscribe. All 1,000 of my subscribers better go over to subscribe to Mikaela. Thank you so much, Mikaela. You have yourself a wonderful evening, a wonderful day today.
You too.
And to all my audience out there, be safe out there. Wear your mask, of course, social distance. We love each and every one of you. Thank you for watching this episode of East versus West, and we will see you guys on the next episode.